Hi there and welcome to SPEAKup's digital product, Speak Like a Leader. Throughout this product you're going to learn 3 parts about communicating as a leader. Number 1 is knowing your outcome or goal. Number 2 is knowing your audience and how to speak to them effectively. And part 3 is all about communicating that message across with them in a really positive and engaging manner. The difference between a manager and a leader is that a manager has somebody who works for them and a leader has somebody who will follow them. So it's really different, and the team will actually want to be following them rather than just taking orders. This translates fantastically well into just speaking in general. So again, if you're a public speaker or if you're trying to develop confidence so you can speak more comfortably in these environments, this is a really key tool for yourself of not just being a speaker, so you're speaking at an audience, you're trying to have your audience follow you. And that'll change the way that you communicate with them on stage or in everyday scenarios. Now, when you receive this product, you'll have had an attachment for a sheet. Now on this sheet, one of the opening questions will be about leadership. So I want you just for now, have a think about what makes a good leader. So to yourselves, who's been a leader that's inspired you in your day-to-day lives, in a work environment or otherwise? And why did you think they were a leader? What were they doing to make you be thinking of them as a leader? And just use that for the next 60 seconds or so, go away and have a little think about it and really get into the mindset of what a leader actually is. Okay, so what's your goal in regards to public speaking and giving presentations? What's your outcome going to be? Now, using this question, have a look at statement 1, which I'll just pop up for you. Now, where would you rate yourself between 1 and 10 about how much you know your goal? Yeah? 10 being, I have a clear goal for the next 12 months, I know exactly what I want to be doing and where I want to go. In relation to public speaking and communication, yeah, so I'm trying to grow a team, I'm trying to be on stage, and here are the steps that I've got. Now 1, on the other hand, would mean that I have nothing, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, I'll just wake up and figure it out. So where on that scale would you put yourselves? Okay, so the second part of this is know your audience. Now have a look at the statement I'll just pop up for you. Now an audience can be your friends, families, partners, peers, employers or employees, a team that you're surrounding yourself by, or an audience you're speaking in front of. It's really important to know your audience and who you're actually speaking to. So rate yourself between 1 and 10 again on where you fit within this scale. 10 being, I know my team, I know my audience thoroughly and how to communicate with them in the best possible way. Number 1 could be that I'm not really sure about the different personality types or how to communicate with them in the best way. Yeah. Okay, now step 3 of this leadership formula is communication. You know, how well are you able to communicate with these people when you do? If you're on stage, for example, is the audience receptive to your message? If you're a manager or a team leader or in an employment role, are they really receptive to the orders? Are you working together with a good synergy? And this is a really key factor in regards to public speaking and how you're communicating with them. Do you sometimes find there's disagreements or people aren't really sure about what to do or how to communicate well with each other? If you're leaning towards this side, you'll be more towards the 1. There's disagreements, confusion, potential negative energy when you're talking with these people. Now, a 10 would be that everybody knows each other, you know how to speak with each other in the correct way and get the best results out of each other. And sometimes it's a non-verbal thing, you just know each other so well. So rate yourself between 1 and 10 on that scale. So have a little look on those points that you've written out for yourself and your grading from each area, and just notice why some of them are more, some of them a little bit less, and just be aware of that for yourselves. You know, within public speaking, awareness is key, because if you're aware of something, you can improve upon it. Yeah? And don't worry if you find that some of them are quite low. We're going to work through all of these in today's digital product to help you get better results. So, coming up to the first point, have a little think about where you want to be in the next 12 months in regarding to your public speaking and communication skills. What's your goal? What's your outcome that you're trying to achieve? If you haven't got a direction, you can go anywhere because you're not sure where you're going. That makes sense? So you want to be moving a clear path towards something. Now, be aware of when you're writing these goals out that this course is designed around leadership. So we're trying to take the self out of this quite a bit and making it about us, making it about the team, how we can communicate well as a team together to be stronger. There's a saying that you can go far alone, but you can go further together. So when you're writing this goal and this vision, have a little think about how you're including other people within this goal. Now, to help you out with this process, which might seem a little bit strange, I'm asking you to write a goal. It's a new thing for some of you maybe. I've got a few examples just to hopefully make life a little bit easier on how to have that interconnectivity between your team as well as yourself. So have a little look at the examples that I've got up here for you. So in 12 months' time, I want the business to fully understand and appreciate the marketing department. So it's taking me out of the picture. I'm trying to help the team to grow. And by thinking about it like that, that'll make me speak to them in a different way rather than me just trying to move past them and go on my own path. Now, a bad example would be, in 12 months' time, I want to be fully respected at work and receive a promotion. See, that's about me. And I'm not saying it's a bad goal, we all want to move up into our careers, or move forward into wherever we're going. But if it's always just about me, you'll be very narrowly focused about yourself, whereas if you try and incorporate a team with you, you'll get better results and you'll be communicating constantly as a team to move towards that direction together. Okay, so now use this time to actually write down the goal now. You've thought about it, but now try and write it down and be concise and clear with where you'd like to be in the next 12 months. Okay, so we're moving on to the second part, which is knowing your audience. Now, within this audience, with this team that we're speaking to, I want to have a think about the first point of knowing your goal and how these people in your life, this team that you're surrounded by, can affect that. We call these goal stakeholders. They've got a stake in your goal. If you communicate well with them and you do really well, they will allow you to reach those goals much easier and more effectively. So these could be, again, your partners, friends, employers, directors, the team that surround you, mentors. Have a little think about these. There's two people, the two biggest factors of this, and write them down for me. Okay, so now when you're speaking to these people, these goal stakeholders, is it always brilliant? Is it always a great connection? You seem to know how to communicate well with each other and everything is sunshine and roses? Or is that a little bit difficult sometimes and there's maybe a bit of anxiety, nervousness or disagreement? Which happens sometimes, for different sorts of people, but if you find that apparent, just pay attention to that. For myself, for example, many years ago I was into and involved in one-to-one coaching quite heavily. Now I knew my goal, I knew my outcome, what I wanted to achieve, is a success and for them to move forward within themselves. But what I did, I brought the same plan along to every person, and as a result it ended up with, sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't work, which isn't fantastic because you want it to work every time as much as possible. And there was always this 50-50 split, and it led me to be quite confused. The person that I'd be helping wouldn't be taking any action on these goals because the plan wasn't clear enough and I didn't speak to them in their own language, if that makes sense. And it was hard, I didn't really know what to do at that point, and you might find yourself in a similar sort of situation of having certain people in your life that you're not sure how to communicate with best, and having that tension or conflict. But it's really important to understand that everybody's different. You know, we're very different characters, and we like different things, and we like to be spoken to in a specific way. What we're going to move on to in this next part of the section is going to allow you to have a framework to understand and pick out the different characteristics from certain people in your life. And then once you've got this and you know what characters they are, you'll be able to effectively communicate with them all the time, because you'll know what they want, and it's like speaking their language. And that is a really big key to developing that core team, is knowing who they are and the best way to speak to them. Okay, so we've got the 4 personality types, which you'll see just in the slides, and I'll walk through each one of those to allow you to understand what they actually are. You'll resonate with some of the things from each one of these points. Some more strong than others. Try and pick out and figure out which one is the strongest one for you. Because there will be elements of each one that you will connect with, but there should be one of them which is a major one for yourself. But just to walk through them, number 1 is the director personality type. Now, this character is outcome orientated. They are decisive, and they are system thinkers. So they want to understand how everything works. They can sometimes be seeing the bigger picture of understanding what's happening. So they're really good. They tend to be very career focused and business focused. Very direct with how they communicate with you. Now, the downside to this personality type and their weaknesses can be that they're a little bit insensitive at times. They lack the empathy to speak to a team sometimes. They'll just want to get it done. I don't want to know how, I don't know if you're getting upset, I just want to see the results. Which, again, for a business is great because you'll get the results. But for the people in the team, you can sometimes suffer and struggle and feel under a lot of pressure. So that's the director type. The second type is nurturer. Now, these characters are relationship orientated. They're social beings, they love being around people constantly, they have a lot of empathy, and they're trusting, intuitive, and they know what to do within the team, how to communicate with people really well. These people are fantastic at bringing the team together, they're fantastic at understanding whenever there is friction and how to speak to somebody in the correct way for them. But the downside to this person is this nurturer role can almost be a people pleaser. So they'll be very agreeable, especially if it's for the benefit of the team. They'll say yes to too many things and put pressure on themselves. And sometimes they won't be able to do a lot of the tasks because they've signed up for too much, but won't want to let people down. And often as well, because they're trying to please everybody, you'll notice sometimes when they get asked the question, well, what do you think about this? They'll struggle with the answer because they don't want to offend anybody. So they'll say, well, what do you think about it? Because they're trying to please everybody. Now, for a director, this is very frustrating, and it can almost seem like they don't have an answer, even if they may do, because they're almost being overly reflective with a question. So that's the nurturer. Now, explorers, these characters are experience orientated. This is characteristic number 3. They are creative, adventurous, spontaneous. They love all things new. When you walk in, they've got high energy. They're very much energy characters, and they're always trying to get involved with new tasks. But as a result of getting involved with new tasks, this can lead to them forgetting about tasks they've already signed up to. So they'll sign up for something and then forget about it halfway through because the next shiny things come along, which isn't great sometimes within business. And lots of ideas, but not a lot of stability to follow through with those ideas when actual work comes in. They can be impulsive as well, and sometimes think that the first idea is the best idea and go off and do it, when there are probably a lot of things to think about within that should be processed and analysed before making a big decision. And the fourth and final type is the builder. Now, builders are structure and process orientated. You'll know if you're a builder because you love lists, routines and planning things out heavily. Now, you don't just write lists, you'll put your lists in an order, you'll colour coordinate them, there'll be a time attached to them, you might use mind maps regularly to create these task lists, and you very much like to know what you're doing and when. Which, this character is fantastic at that sort of stuff. The organisation side of things is fantastic. They're loyal. They're typically quite calm people as well. They like to take their time with things, and are routine driven, which can be great. They like doing the same things and these repetitive tasks. They'll typically be in a role, in a corporate role for many, many, many years because they're used to it. They don't like change that much. They like to stay where they are. Now, as a result of not liking change, they can be resistant towards it. So whenever a new idea to help a business adapt and grow and develop comes along, they're thinking about all the reasons why it might not work because it's new and different and changing. They'd rather stick to what they know and use that. So they can be, again, dogmatic and stubborn to these changes. So I've given you the four archetypes, the overview of them. Now try and have a think about for yourself which one of them leads in to you much more. I'm a nurturer, primary, that's my main type, and secondary. I've got a lot of traits of explorer as well, but nurturer the main one, and then explorer is a secondary one for myself. What is yours? So now that you've got an understanding of the different personality types, and hopefully you've figured out which one that you lean more into, I'm going to discuss how best to communicate with each one of these types. So with directors, they want you to be clear and logical. Come at them with what you know, not what you think could happen. Yeah, these people want facts and figures and a plan for how you're going to do everything. Again, using data and facts and a proposal. Now, if you're trying to think about how to communicate with this person as well, have the big picture in mind. So not only think about what this task can do, or what this speech can do for them, or presentation, think about the bigger picture. As a result of this small thing that's going to happen, it's going to impact us on a bigger level. Again, this leans over towards a corporate sort of a role, but if you communicate with these people in that way, you'll have a much better way of interacting with them. Now, the nurturers. Now, with these people, again, they're empathy, they're feeling driven. So you can just come at them with logical facts and think with a picture. They care about how they're being spoken to, not necessarily the words themselves. They want to feel valued, and they want to feel part of the team as well. So if you can do that, you can speak to them in a way that they think that isn't overly direct and has their feelings in mind. They'll respect that, they'll appreciate that, and also how it'll benefit the team or other people in society or the community. They'll really resonate with that and want to jump on board. Explorers, these people would love for you to speak to them in terms of the next big thing. New ideas, what can we do for the short-term wins that can have a fantastic impact? Spontaneous ideas, and when you are speaking with the explorers, try and do it in a manner that's expressive, that it's high energy, and you're really engaged and enthusiastic about the idea, because they'll then connect with that energy. They're energy-driven people. They love that. They'll connect with you and then want to get more involved. So again, short-term wins, new ideas, how you can tweak and adapt certain things for the next best thing. Yeah. Builders are very much a flip to the explorer in the way you communicate with them. You may know this if you are an explorer or builder and you're trying to communicate with each other. It's a difficult one because a builder wants to have not a talk, they want to have an email first to let them know about the talk. They want to know what time it is, where it's going to be, and what to prepare. It's very difficult and uncomfortable sometimes for a builder to just get put on the spot and then asked, come up with some ideas for me. Explorers love that, but a builder not necessarily. They'd rather have time to go and think about it. That's where their strengths lie. They can go away then and create mind maps, they can go away and create a strategy, and that's their strength. So when they come to the meeting, they've got a document which is maybe laminated or colour coordinated to help them, guide them through that. They're only speaking familiar terms that they know, and the longer term the project is, the more they're going to be able to see how it fits into their world and to create routines and habits out of it. Okay, so think back to the stakeholders, the goal stakeholders that can have a big impact on whether you're going to achieve that. And think about what sort of a personality type are they? Are they a director, nurturer, builder, or explorer? Now write that down and have a little think about how you then can communicate with them in a different way. What's going to be your approach to it? Now I understand if you're in a public speaking environment it's difficult, but this could be a case of if the stakeholder is an event organiser, you can then speak to them in a way that allows you to get a better speaking position or in front of more people. Now again, if you are a public speaker and you're speaking to large audiences, you've got to be aware that in that room there's going to be directors, builders, explorers and nurturers in the room at the same time. So if you stick to one path of speaking to somebody, like in a very direct way or in a very nurturing way, or the other two, you will lose some of the audience. So you've got to be aware of the language that you use, the energy that you bring, and try and flow in between the four of them while speaking to more people, and that way you'll get a good impact on a lot of the room. And this is again very meta level thinking going behind. They won't realise that you're doing this, but you will get many more of them on your side. This works especially well on a one-to-one basis if you're speaking to a team or your boss, partners, friends and peers. And it can be quite a fun thing to realise as well, because once you know what sort of a type a person is, all of that stress and confusion that was there before, you'll understand that it wasn't just that person that was disagreeing with you. It was the way in which it was being communicated, and literally a simple switch of framing can have a massive impact on the communication and really, really boost it up. Okay, brilliant. So now you've got all of the tools in order to be able to communicate effectively with your audience, and when you can do that, you can then reach your goals by working together on them. So the third and final step in this process is the communication part of it. Now that you've got the knowledge, you need to be able to put it into action. So take the time and process, depending on what and who your audience is. If it's a corporate, if it's a public speaking audience, or whatever else it could be for yourself. Think about how we can implement these tools and strategies in order to progress that communication, relationship building, to allow you all to progress towards the bigger goals for the team. Thank you. This has been SpeakUp's digital product, Speak Like a Leader.